Chainsaw Man is a manga series that is interesting because it's probably the only manga series that, at least from what I've seen, is actively talked about in the anime community despite not having an anime adaptation yet. Sure, you've got people talking about Berserk and the unanimated parts of JoJo's a lot, but JoJo's has an extremely popular anime series that covers over half the current parts, and Berserk has multiple adaptations that, although their quality varies, have surely raised the series' popularity by raising awareness of it and had people go to the manga, which in itself is legendary in its reputation. Chainsaw Man is a recent manga with an anime adaptation announced, but as of writing this video, not even a trailer or any visuals have been released, meaning that we have no clue what this anime adaptation will look like. And yet, despite this, Chainsaw Man has had an insane surge in popularity since its release, and it has become a manga series that even anime-only watchers recognize at a glance. And today, I'm here to tell you not why that is. This isn't really a review of Chainsaw Man, nor is it an analysis or case study of the series. I've never really seen myself as much of a reviewer, so instead this video is just going over why I like Chainsaw Man, and why I think you should give it a go. Either read it now or wait until the anime adaptation comes out, whichever you want to do. I'm just here to tell you why it's cool. So yeah, here I am. This is what Chainsaw Man's sick, dude. Yeah, let's go. So, first up, what's Chainsaw Man even about? Chainsaw Man follows our protagonist, Denji, an amateur devil hunter who has a pet dog called Pochita, who is also a devil and also a chainsaw. Yep, it makes sense, I swear. Denji's just out here living a normal life, until shit happens. Denji's forced to fuse with his pet dog and gain its powers, so now Denji can make chainsaws come out of his face and arms. It makes sense, I swear. He is soon discovered by a woman named Makima, a public safety devil hunter, basically a devil hunter in service of the government, who tells Denji that if he uses his newfound powers to become a public safety devil hunter, then she won't kill him for being a devil. It may not sound like the greatest deal for Denji, but he's actually pretty happy with this deal. It gives him a good supply of food, a roof over his head, and some good friends in the form of Aki Hayakawa, a veteran devil hunter with an incredible amount of loyalty to Makima, and Power, a blood fiend, meaning that she is a blood devil possessing a human's body, who's in much the same position as Denji, that she's been forced to become a devil hunter, otherwise she's gonna be hunted and killed as a devil. Denji is also a huge fucking simp for Makima, so any job that allows him to spend time getting closer to her is a pretty good job for him.
And if you choose the $30 subscription, you get...
Silence! I'd wish to be horny. I just do not want to be happy.
That's the basic premise. From here on, Denji and Ko kind of just go around, killing devils, occasionally fucking terrorists, while Denji tries to figure out the most efficient way to get into Makima's pants. This sets up some fairly standard shonen story arcs. Denji and his friends hunt down a new devil with some weird power. They slowly figure out the devil's whole deal and a way to kill it. They kill it, mix in a little character development, and bam, you've got a story arc for every shonen anime ever. That'll be $5. However, Chainsaw Man sets itself apart by having us slowly question how much we really know, and although I won't spoil it here, the story makes some drastic changes later on that sets it apart from many other shonen anime. There's a lot that makes Chainsaw Man stand out from its contemporaries, and that makes it an overall fun time. The fights are intense and bloody, which just amp up how violent and destructive these fights really are. Helps a lot with the incredible art. The devil designs are memorable and horrific, making it easy to be genuinely afraid of these fictional monsters, and both those points go towards making the series feel more like a horror than an action at some points. And yet at the same time it has this element of dark comedy that gives the series a nice tonal balance of pants-shittingly horrifying and I shouldn't be laughing but it is just too funny, man. This makes the whole series feel like a more mature look at shonen anime without being an outright seinen, although some might say it's actually closer to being seinen despite being in Shonen Jump. I don't really know where the line is drawn between those two, so yeah, I'm not really in a position to say whether Chainsaw Man is shonen or seinen. You can go to someone else for that. But to me, the highlight of this series is definitely the characters, and how well written, likable, and emotionally resonant they all are. Aki is an example. At first, obviously dislikes Denji and doesn't want him around. It's clear that Aki either doesn't trust Denji, or he thinks that Denji isn't taking his life seriously enough and is going to get killed as a result of that. And this continues for a while, with Denji and Power both being the immature, more comedic characters of the main trio, while Aki is much more down-to-earth, but clearly doesn't want to deal with the other two. But as the story progresses, he slowly grows closer to the other two. Although he never admits it, he cares about Denji and Power, about their safety and well-being, and he starts to enjoy being around them. Power is very much made to be a comedy relief character for most of the story, but her bombastic, larger-than-life personality makes her incredibly fun to watch. Just such a fun and endearing character. And despite being mostly comedic relief, she does have some genuinely heartfelt moments where she grows closer to Denji, as the two become truly close friends. And Denji himself, you could find so many videos going over why Denji is a good protagonist. And here's another one, let's go! Denji is just another endearing character. His life is shit, no one is denying that. The guy starts the story in enough debt to buy as many Teslas as he has skin cells. He has no friends except for his dog, he lives in an abandoned shack and most likely hasn't eaten since 2006. Even after he gets picked up by Makima, he's kind of in a shitty situation. He's forced to put his life on the line every day, otherwise he'll just be killed anyway. His roommate hates him at the start anyway, and his dog's gone, and yet despite all this, Denji still has a positive outlook on life. And he does this by putting a clear goal in his mind. At first it's just to eat some good food, but then once he accomplishes that, he gains a new goal that every human on the planet has sought after at some point in their lives. His new goal is to touch some titties. And then he accomplishes that too! Denji's just constantly looking for his next small goal, and until he reaches it, that goal is what he lives for. So it doesn't matter if his living condition is shitty, or he has no friends, or everyone who knows him treats him like dirt. As long as he's working towards that feasible goal, he's happy, and that makes Denji such a unique and endearing protagonist that you just can't help but root for. The whole series is great at getting you to love and enjoy watching these characters. And I just talked about the main trio, I didn't even talk about the extensive side cast like Kobeni, Beam, Kishibe, and Biscuit Rays, and of course Makima herself. The series gets you invested in these characters, it gets you involved in their lives, and it gets you to like their sometimes larger-than-life personalities, and sometimes down-to-earth demeanors. And then it uses that investment to hit you where it hurts. Although since this video has only included very minor spoilers so far, seeing as this is kind of a recommendation, this next section of the video is going to include heavy spoilers, so if you want to read or watch the series and don't want to be spoiled, I completely understand, just skip to the timestamp on screen. You could always come back to this video once you're caught up to the series if you're curious, and I would recommend going into this series blind. You may then ask, why are we even putting this spoiler section in then? And to that I say, 1, some people don't care about spoilers as much as others, 2, this is my video, I do what I want, and 3, I just want to talk about this, okay? It's just, the later parts of the story are really cool and I just want to fucking talk about it, okay? Okay? Thanks. Okay, so is everyone who didn't want to see spoilers gone? Yes, is that a yes? I can't tell through the screen, so I'm just gonna guess that's a yes. Here we go! As a writer, or at least someone who writes a lot, not sure if you could call me a writer if I've never publicly shared a piece of my writing in my life, one struggle that I run into a lot is making permanent changes to my characters. Whether that be them losing a limb, experiencing some traumatizing event, or just straight up killing them off. Making permanent changes to characters, especially killing them off, is always such a difficult choice to make because of all the doubts floating in your mind. What if I need this character later? What if I don't do their death justice? What if I do their death too much justice and no one actually cares? What if I could have built upon their arc that much more? All of these doubts and more just float around my head, and so I find it rare that I actually kill off characters. Because of this, I have a huge amount of respect for mediums, whether they be video games, anime, or manga, that make permanent changes to their characters and give their characters meaningful deaths. Spoilers for Final Fantasy XV, but that game got so many points for me when nearing the latter half of the game, Ignis was permanently blinded and they didn't give him like robot eyes or some shit. The way they approached that might have not been the best. I mean, he could still fight and shit even though he was blind. But that game still gained huge props for me, just for doing something so bold like that. And so Chainsaw Man gets just as much as respect from me for spending its entire runtime building up these characters, getting you to know and love them, and building them to be this unique cast of fun, quirky, and heartfelt people, and then it starts killing them off. Both Aki and Power are killed off nearing the end of the series in ways that are brutal, sudden, and extremely emotional. Denji fights Aki possessed by the Gun Devil nearing the end of the story, and it's genuinely one of the most emotional fights that I've ever seen in anime, and Power is killed suddenly and violently by Makima, showing you the true power and insanity of this woman and why she should be feared as the antagonist of this story. Both of their deaths are meaningful too. They both build towards not only pushing Denji towards his breaking point nearing the end of the series, but making Makima out to be a truly terrifying and sinister villain who will be absolutely merciless if she needs to be to get what she wants. The fact that the story was able to kill off these two characters, as well as so many others throughout the series, including Pascal Reyes, with full confidence and without doubling down on their deaths later, and the fact that the story's going to continue into part 2, meaning that the story can continue on without these characters, just... Man, this series just gets huge amounts of respect from me. Props to you, man, Mr. Writer of Chainsaw Man, who I don't know his name. Maybe it's not even a him, I don't know. Okay, spoilers are over, you can come back now, don't worry, we weren't talking about you or anything. So anyway, yeah, Chainsaw Man has a lot to love. I mean, it's gotten incredibly popular for a reason, so if you've watched this video and want to give Chainsaw Man a go, the manga is super fast-paced, especially in the earlier chapters, so you could blast through this series pretty quickly and get caught up. Or you could wait until the anime adaptation comes out. Fair enough if you do, since I doubt it won't turn out well. If you want to know the current status on the series, the manga is currently on a hiatus of sorts. By the looks of it, the series is going with a fucking JoJo part approach or something, and part 1 of the series has now ended at chapter 97, with very little known about part 2 so far, and no release date, but I doubt it'll be long until we hear something new. With that, I bid you farewell, and I hope that this video has gotten you interested in Chainsaw Man. Thanks for watching my video. See ya.